Tuesday, and let's continue with this. More on the listeriosis outbreak. The National Institute for Communicable Diseases says at least 199 people have died from the disease, while 50 new cases have been identified since contaminated food was recalled. The report also shows that following the recall there has been a decrease, and that's good news, in new cases. Let's go to the newsroom now. eNCA reporter Erin Bates is working that story. Let's pick up on those 50 cases if we can. 50 new cases identified, Erin, since the recall. That was from the 1st or the 5th of March, if I remember correctly. But the incubation does take some time, so that figure is possibly a moving target.
Yes, there is some concern over the fact that listeriosis has a 90-day incubation period, and contaminated foodstuffs can also cross-contaminate other foods. So there is ongoing destruction and contamination of those foodstuffs. And in fact, Tiger Brands has a website which includes a phone number any consumers can call if they want to get information on how to return products they may be concerned about. And the number is 0860 333310, and there are more details on the Tiger Brand website.
And we're also starting now to get a better sense, Erin, are we not, of the cost of this entire scandal?
We are. Tiger Brands has estimated that the full recall, this involves incinerating those tons of polony, Viennas, Russians and the like, will cost in the region of between about 330 or 370 million rand. Fortunately, they do have insurance, so that's good news on their part and in terms of their business sustainability going forward. But this has whacked the processed meat production industry in South Africa, not least because so many of these products are exported around the SADC region, and that's one of the things the World Health Organization has been in consultation with South Africa and other governments. And
part of that consultation, Erin, would be to prevent this kind of thing from happening in the future. And there's now something called the Emergency Response Plan. I presume that's future-looking as far as this particular issue is concerned. What does that entail?
So the Emergency Response Plan is forward-looking in terms of finding ways to tighten up the management of food production and even policy, looking at regional issues, inspections and the like. So it is forward-looking in that sense, but it's also to deal with the current listeriosis outbreak, which continues to rise in terms of the numbers coming out of the NICD, although, as you've said, those weekly diagnostics are diminishing. The cases per week have diminished compared to before the recall on the 5th of March. But what is so interesting about this latest report, Jeremy, is that it deals with policy. It deals with things at a municipal level, at a regional level, and we just have to think back to that Polokwane plant and how was it that this particular strain of listeriosis was able to run amok there, infecting all of these foodstuffs and leading to the death of 199 people on the latest count. And those 50 cases you mentioned being announced since the recall, almost half of them are children under 28 days old. So the figures are devastating, the body count is high, and there's a lot of work to be done at a municipal level in terms of trying to prevent this in future.
We do know all of this is going to have a court sequel. Where do we stand in terms of the class action suit?
Yes, so last time we spoke we had these two applications before the South Gauteng High Court. That remains the state of affairs for now, although there may be some movements on the legal front over the next week. We understand that counsel from two different attorney firms are in discussions about melding those two applications into one, and Tiger Brands, which represents its subsidiary Enterprise Foods, says it will act as a responsible corporate citizen, but they're not in a position to comment on the application as yet, and it's too soon to start talking about any sort of recompense or damages to be paid to anybody. We're just not that far in the legal process as yet.
All right.